We do have a 10:15 time certain. Again, we are behind schedule. We appreciate everybody's patience. That's the report of the accreditation team to Contra Costa County Office of Education.
No,
And if we, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, we have everybody here?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Okay, great.
I'm
Thank you.
bringing them in. Yeah.
No worries. I know it's a juggling act. Consultant Roxanne Perdue will introduce the item, and she is joined by team lead Christine Cisco and institutional representatives Charisse DeCoito, coordinator of teacher induction, and Niere da Silva, coordinator teacher induction. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Nair.
Nair, thank you so much. I appreciate the correction. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Anyone need to recuse himself? All right. Seeing none, Ms. Perdue, will you please begin?
Thank you, and good morning, committee members. The Contra Costa County Office of Education site visit took place from April 26th through 28th. The visit was conducted entirely by video technology and proceeded in accordance with all normal accreditation protocols. It was a true pleasure to serve as a staff consultant for this site visit. The team at Contra Costa County was wonderful to work with throughout the year and really responsive to all that was asked of them. And believe me, I'm really detail oriented, and they did a lot. So they were really on top of it. Many of the items created and arranged for this virtual visit, such as the virtual schedule, will be used as exemplars for future visits by me, actually. So I really appreciate their attention to detail in creating their documents for this site visit. I'd like to personally thank coordinators Nair da Silva and Charisse DeCoto for their hard work and dedication. Their attention to detail about the whole visit made it go very smoothly, and it was so well organized. Additionally, their enthusiasm for the purpose and role of induction programs was contagious. It always left me with more commitment to my own work. They are just so committed to their work and so enthusiastic about the work and their program and their candidates. Contra Costa County serves as a consortium, and as such, they have a relatively larger program. A total of 147 interviews were conducted with various stakeholders throughout the visit. Their dedication to the standards was very evident as they were innovative, as they had innovative ideas, especially surrounding technology. They really embraced continuous improvement. Even in the year leading up to the site visit, they had so many things that they were doing to improve their program, especially around technology. It was really, they took on a lot, and they did a great job. Joining us today, we have team lead Christine Cisco. I'd like to give a special thank you to Christine, as her leadership, professionalism, and dedication contributed to a very well-run visit. Christine has been such a dedicated member of our BIR team, and she has done so many site visits, and she's always just such a good mentor to new candidates, and she's just so dedicated to the purpose of induction. She's wonderful to work with. And I want to also thank each of our site visit members. They not only worked so hard, but they just were so thorough and detailed in their review of everything. And now I'd like to turn it over to Christine, who will present the findings and the accreditation recommendation of the team.
Well, thank you for having me here today. And it is a pleasure to be able to represent and talk about Contra Costa County Office of Education. And just to write on Roxanne's coattails a little bit, it takes a great consultant to help lead a successful site visit. So thank you to her. I think we've actually come together as a mutual admiration and gratitude society, because truly between the county office personnel, Charisse and Nair, and the site visit team, it was a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. And being able to say that during something that takes a lot of hard work and effort is a true privilege. So thank you to everybody for all the hard work. So being that accreditation visits are so intense and rigorous, thank you to Contra Costa for their flexibility, their organization, and their availability. COVID to them was not a barrier. COVID became an opportunity, and an opportunity to improve and support, especially that just-in-time support as it applied to all of those teachers who were having to pivot on the fly on a daily, weekly, monthly basis with the changes that we were all experiencing. Contra Costa County's team exhibited dedication and commitment to the development of professional practice for new teachers, and as Roxanne mentioned, to the practices virtually as well as in person. Growth mindset and positive collaborative culture are pervasive throughout that county office program, from the superintendent of the county to the superintendents of the districts within the consortium, all the way to the human resources, educational services, site administration, and the candidates and mentors themselves. The leadership in this program models the exact behavior and expectations for all educators in the district. They walk the walk and talk the talk. One thing that stood out about this teacher induction program is the extensive impact it's having on its new teachers through its just-in-time supports, ILPs, and SMARTY goals. Investing in your teachers lets them know that they're a valuable part of the larger system and keeps everyone focused on the ultimate mission, which is serving students. The sense of community that has been established is a shared vision among all consortium members. An integral part of the site visit is to conduct those interviews to gather information regarding the program and the perceptions and experiences of all stakeholders. I'd like to share with you just a couple of comments that were given to us during the interview process regarding this impact. One candidate claimed, Induction is a network of guardian angels. And during this last year, I can certainly concur with that. Another candidate mentioned that the communication and collaboration with my mentor kept my head above water, which is huge, especially during this time. And then we had an administrator comment that teachers feel supported and having a thought partner or mentor positively influences their performance in the classroom. So with that, we would like to recommend that the Contra Costa County Office of Education be fully accredited as outlined in the report.
Great, thank you so much for the details. We now invite institutional representatives to briefly comment about the visit. We remind you it's not a time to dispute the team's report, but rather provide any thoughts that you may have about the visit itself.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the commission, everyone who is here. What we just heard is absolutely humbling. So I'd like to start off by thanking Roxanne for being an amazing consultant and supporting us the entire year, answering all of our questions, emails, providing thought partnership on how to approach these unprecedented times, and being a learning partner as we navigated how to set up a virtual site visit. So thank you so much for all your patience and support. It's greatly appreciated. Christine, your insights and understanding of what it means to run a consortium and a county office, your humor, you're just the overall warm disposition you had really supported Charisse and myself through our very first site visit. So thank you all for making it such an enjoyable experience. We'd also like to thank our site visit team and all of those in the background at our county office that helped to make this site visit go off as smoothly as possible. As Christine mentioned, this has been an unprecedented 16 plus months. With our global pandemic, with very intense socio-political climate, our educational landscape pivoting into distance learning, into hybrid, some in person. It was just pivot after pivot. And one of the things that Charisse and I have embraced is really this notion that life is inquiry. And this year was all about leaning in to the unknown and doing the very best we could with supporting all of our stakeholders with both just-in-time needs as well as keeping the longer-term vision in mind. Part of that was balancing the humanistic, holding compassion and grace for all that people were holding, and at the same time recognizing that we also had these technical aspects to attend to. So not only did we have these this intense global context happening, but we had our site accreditation on top of it, as well as learning how to support our TPA, RECA candidates, our VTW candidates. So it was a lot. And again, we are so grateful to the immense amount of support that we received in preparing for this site visit. Charisse, would you like to add anything?
Well, Nair speaks so beautifully, so I know I am in support of everything she just shared. And just to add on that we are big believers in the continuous improvement cycle. So we were excited to have any feedback, constructive as well as positive. So this whole experience has been such a great learning for us. And diving into it all, as Nair mentioned, we are new to this whole process of accreditation. So thank you. Thank you again. So that's all.
All right. Thank you both for your comments. Any member of the public wish to offer any comment?
Say no comments.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from committee members? Member Larson.
This is a minor part of your report, but I was intrigued by the conversation cafe that you had for your mentors. I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about how you coordinated that and what that looked like.
Sure. So part of what we noticed is with the virtual space and wanting to make sure we had contact with our mentors is we just provided it was monthly space for Conversation Cafe. So basically it was an open Zoom link and time frame, and we would just notify through Canvas, our online platform, and had a series of dates scheduled and times scheduled where either mentors and their teachers could come on and either ask questions, provide a space to talk with each other. So we had a lot of retiree mentors kind of pop on and have a conversation so they could support each other, because people felt more isolated than together at times. So it really provided a variety of space that it kind of grew in itself. We really didn't come with an agenda at the Conversation Cafe. It was really just who was going to show up and what was going to come about in this conversation. So and like I said, we had a variety, sometimes just for mentors, sometimes for both. And we just kind of let it happen. And it looked like it was a hit, and it's going to roll into next year as well.
That was going to be my follow-up question, if you felt it was something beneficial to continue. That's
yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. Member Balatayo.
On that same vein, I really like the concept of the TAP conversation log, particularly the collaborative coaching conversation log, because I think that's also part of the continuous support that you provide. Can you guys tell me more about that, please?
Just to clarify, you're talking about the collaborative conversation logs between mentors and participating teachers. So part of the thought behind it over the years as we've collected data is making the learning visible and having not only a tool for accountability, but also a tool to record some of the most important learning milestones that are happening. So really what it is it's a learning journal. And what we decided to do this year, in the past we had standalone collaborative conversation logs and they were separate, but what we wanted to create is this idea of this continuous learning journey that both the mentor and the participating teacher could go back and reference and really like say, hey, look at what we were doing here, look how far we've come. So the feedback that we've received is actually outstanding this year. Like mentors are loving it, and it's actually become an additional tool for reflection that we didn't necessarily anticipate. Mentors and participating teachers have both reported that they're going back not only to identify, hey, when did we talk about this? What did we say we were going to do? But also to mark growth, because it's so easy for new teachers to just say, this is not working, but to actually have documentation of, look at where we are a few months ago. Another example I can give you with one of the candidates that I'm mentoring is she would write notes to me throughout the week on the log. So it became an informal space for us to say, hey, I want to remember to check in with Nair about blah, blah, blah. So what we found is that mentors were using it in different ways, and it became a living tool that could be adapted to whatever the relationship needs were.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I really admire that chronicling of continuous growth. And this is on Canvas too, right?
It's actually a Google Doc, but yes, they do submit it to Canvas, and it's like a week by week thing that they just write. There's no requirement on the length that they need to write. It can be bullets, but it's a great place to write next steps and to have this anchoring document for each of the meetings.
Great. Thank you so much.
I thank you both. Any other committee member have any comment or question? All right, this is an action item. Is there a motion by a committee member?
I see Dr. Hillis. I don't know if you can see him, Bob.
No, I'm sorry. My screen keeps freezing. Thank you. Member Hillis, thank you.
I'd like to make a proposal that we accept the recommendation for accreditation for Contra Costa's teacher induction program.
Great, thank you. Is there a second? Second by Member Cracia. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Cynthia Amos.
Aye.
Jolene Belatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Cracia.
Aye.
Katrina Tchaikovsky.
Aye.
Bob Fraley.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Aye.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. So thank you, Ms. DeCoito, Ms. De Silva, Ms. Cisco, and Ms. Perdue. Thank you so much for joining us and for your patience. Congratulations. Have a great day.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
everyone.
much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Looking forward, we're going to skip, when we get there to item 15, we're going to move that one to later on in the day to be sure that we achieve what we need to do, and that is the site visits prior to noon. So we're going to move forward to item 14 right now. Item 14 is the report of the accreditation team to Campbell Unified School District. Consultant Gabe Roby will introduce the item, and she is joined by team lead Alita Powers and institutional representatives Lena Bunsen, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, and Liliana Contreras, Program Coordinator. Does anyone need to recuse himself? All right, seeing none, Ms. Roby, will you please begin?
Thank you. Good morning, Committee on Accreditation. It's very nice to be here with you again. And again, kudos to Anna Moore and the great job you have done for the past 8 years and beyond. It's my pleasure to bring you the report for the Campbell Union site visit. They serve as the LEA for the South Bay of San Francisco Bay consortium of teacher induction programs. There's also a South Bay that's down here in Southern California in Palos Verdes Peninsula. So we have two South Bay consortiums. They represent 6 TK8 public school districts in the greater San Jose area. They have 1 independent charter school, and then as participants from various private schools become eligible, they also participate in the consortium's induction program. The site visit occurred on April 19th and 20th of this year. And over those 2 days, the site visit team interviewed 105 constituents from 10 different stakeholder groups. We had a 3-member team that was led by Alita Powers, and it was a stellar job because they met so many times ahead of time. In her leadership, they talked about their job responsibilities, they checked in with each other, they drafted their program reports, all under her guidance, which was very much appreciated. And because of this, we were able to shorten the visit to a 2-day site visit because so many things were in line with the procedures of the site visit. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to the team lead for the actual report, Alita.
Thank you so much. I'd like to return that. Gay was a wonderful leader throughout this, a great touchstone, her calm and cheerful presence, not to mention her ever-present color coding, and her deep knowledge of all the standards was really helpful throughout. And the site team was so welcoming, so warm. It almost felt as if we were physically there rather than conducting a virtual visit. So thank you so much, Liliana, Jessica, and also Irene for making us so welcome. And that was extended even anytime we asked for information. Their website was probably one of the most well organized I've seen. Everything was there, everything was in order, all of the links worked, and they were always able to guide us through the process when we had questions and wanted to see more of the candidate work or anything that we requested. So thank you so much. And of course, the wonderful team, Malika and Chad, were diligent. They put in hours and hours ahead of time. So as Gay said, by the time the site visit came, we really were able to focus on the interview process and really speaking to the people within the program. So triangulating all of the information from various sources, we found that the program really was diligent in having an inclusive process with all of their partner districts. They are very firmly dedicated to providing forums for equal voice and equal decision-making for each of their partners. And they've sought out additional partnerships to strengthen their induction program. They have many IHE partners and are part of a group that meets with the IHEs regularly, in addition to other people within their cluster, and the Sinclair Data Group teams that meet to talk about collection and use of data analysis in a meaningful way to improve the program for their candidates. And the candidates themselves were very appreciative. They especially said that since Liliana and Jessica have been taking the lead, the program has had great improvements in responsiveness to what they would like to see as a supportive program. And they could not speak highly enough of that type of support. So we want to recommend with full accreditation for the South Bay Induction Consortium under the lead of the Campbell Union School District.
Thank you, Ms. Powers, and thank you, Ms. Roby. We now invite institutional representatives to briefly comment about the visit. We remind you it's not a time to dispute the team's report, but rather provide any thoughts that you had about the visit itself.
Thank you so much, Gay, Alita, Chad, and Malika for just helping us throughout this whole process, taking us step by step. It really helped us grow, and we can't thank you enough. It was just really helpful. I loved just the step by step. I loved just the guidance throughout Gay, throughout the whole year. It just was a really supportive process, and we're really happy with the results. We're taking your recommendations already to start, implementing and just making the program even better. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lena Bunsen. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. And on behalf of the Campbell Union School District, I want to first celebrate and acknowledge the extraordinary work and efforts of our very talented BITSA program led by Liliana Contreras. And in a school year that's certainly been filled with innovation and other challenges, we are very grateful for the professionalism, commitment, and excellence of the accreditation team. We're so proud of our program and the confidence that you had in us. I want to personally thank Gay. I was able to work with her, and I was just so impressed with her knowledge. It was so much fun to be able to talk to her and through her lens, just see how our program has truly grown in a process that we're going to continue to fine tune everything that we do in Campbell, because in our Campbell way, we always like to provide a program beyond the expected. Thank you all so much.
Hey, thank you both for your comments. Any member of the public wish to offer comment on this item? All right, hearing none. Are there any questions or comments from committee members? Member Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, hi, congratulations, Campbell. I was just curious about something that I read in the report about professional development that you made available to candidates, and it looked like there was a need for, well, first of all, you mentioned Edpuzzle. So I was wondering if you create and post instructional or professional videos on that platform, or do you get your stuff from somewhere else? And then secondly, there seemed to be a comment, it was at the bottom of one page, and I can't quite find the number right now, about how your special ed teachers and those in special electives like fine arts were looking for relevant training options for them. So what's your plan about that? Can you talk a little bit about using that particular platform?
Sure. So we've gone through we used to do professional development in person, and from there we started to move into an online format, which is why we chose Edpuzzle to use that. And that was because our stakeholders were asking for that. Our candidates, our mentors were finding it easier to go into that. And so we actually started doing that before COVID. And then when COVID happened, we were like, oh, perfect. We can still provide that support. We do, most of them are, most of the professional development is provided by us. And occasionally we'll have our teachers on special assignment who are experts at innovation, for example, digital innovation. They'll share their professional developments, and we'll put that on our platform so that our candidates have access to what they need in that moment. So, so that's how we use Edpuzzle, and that's how we keep track of the professional development that they're engaging in.
Well, how about providing access to special ed teachers, or those who are saying that what they need, they don't necessarily get?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do now is reinstitute what we have done before. Before, we used to have a plethora of professional development for special ed teachers, for example. We had to narrow that down because we were going into this virtual platform and it was new, but we're planning on bringing all of that back into our on that Edpuzzle platform. One of the things that we learned, which is why we chose to start deviate a little bit from what we were doing when we were in person, is that a lot of our teachers, even our elective teachers and our special ed teachers, were needing not basic things, but the core skills of classroom management. And so we decided to focus our first professional developments that we were putting on this platform to be those core basic needs. And so now we're going to increase it even more and include things that are particular for special ed teachers, like case management, or how to run an IEP and that sort of thing. We're also looking to add resources to our website so that we can just for example, tell our elective teachers that have a focus on physical education, here are the resources, here are places that you can go to get more information in addition to what they typically need, which is that classroom management and that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm familiar with Induction also, and I know that meeting the needs of ed specialists is a different thing than general educators, and they're often some of our more vulnerable teachers. So I was just curious about how you're ensuring that the needs of those particularly vulnerable new teachers are in fact differentiated, or they're being met through differentiated modes. I would encourage you to try to marry, online and in person, because when you're talking class, well, and then of course your comments made me wonder, does everybody get workshops in classroom management? Because then that sounds way outside the ILP, but I'm not going to go there because I don't think that was one of the findings in the report.
They, just to comment on what you had said, we offer professional learning opportunities, and they have the option of going through our Edpuzzle platforms to access professional development, but I also know that each district has professional development that they provide for their candidates. And so we're always encouraging them to participate in those as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you both. Any other questions or comments from committee members? All right, seeing none, this is an action item. Is there a motion from a member of the committee? Member Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, I move that we accept the recommendation of accreditation for Campbell Union School District's induction program.
Great, thank you. Is there a second? Second by Member Taylor. Secretary, please call the roll.
Cynthia Almos,
Aye.
Jomeline Bolatayo,
Aye.
Kathy Krisha,
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski,
Aye.
Bob Fraley,
Aye.
Mike Hillis,
Aye.
Lynn Larson,
Aye.
Anna Moore,
Aye.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bunsen, Ms. Contreras, Ms. Powers, and Ms. Roby. As always, great to see you. Okay. Thank you. We are going to, as proposed, move item 15 to later in the day so we can catch up a little bit. We're going to move forward on to item 16, and I'll turn the gavel over and pass the meeting over to Co-Chair Moore.
Thank you, Dr. Fraley. All right, item 16 is the report of the accreditation team to Point Loma Nazarene University. Consultant Dr. Sarah Solari Colombini will introduce this item. Joining her is team lead Christine Zeppos and institutional representatives Dr. Deborah Erickson, Dean Dr. Jill Hamilton Bunch, Associate Dean, and Dr. Michael Cork, Director of Assessment. Does anyone need to recuse themselves? All right, Ms. Colombini, will you begin, please?
Certainly, thank you. So it's a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and I won't take too much time. I know that it's close to lunch. So on April 18th through the 21st, we had an accreditation site visit at Point Loma Nazarene University that was held via technology. I would like to thank Dr. Deb Erickson and Dr. Jill Hamilton Bunch and Dr. Michael Cork for the preparation for this visit. They had 16 programs under review, and that's a lot of preparation for interviews, especially since we had 10 team members and myself. I'd also like to thank the members of the team for their persistence and perseverance on this site visit. The team was diligent in their efforts to gather information, and we were still conducting interviews Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. of this site visit. So finally, I would be remiss if I didn't thank our team lead, Dr. Christine Zeppos. Her leadership was invaluable on this visit. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Zeppos so that she can share more about this visit and the team's recommendations with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate not only the kind words, but your support through this visit. As Sarah mentioned, it's a large visit, a lot of programs to review, and truly just, no stone went unturned, and wonderful leadership that we got a chance to work with. And I'd like to highlight them. One of the downfalls of a virtual visit, we didn't get to sit at the beautiful Point Loma campus and look at the ocean views during the visit, but certainly the warm hospitality and the feeling and the support from the leadership, from Dr. Deb Erickson, the Dean of the School of Education, and her team, Associate Dean Jill Hamilton Bunch, and Director of Assessment and Coordination, Michael Cork, really through not only the visit on site, but also well before that, and coordinating such a large and really robust visit. They did just a ton of work. We're always responsive to our needs. And yeah, it was all the way up until Tuesday night where they continued to feed the team information that we needed. And I can't thank you all enough for, again, not only serving the needs, but really just the warm hospitality and outstanding leadership in helping us. I also want to thank the Point Loma community, the chairs, the faculty, the students, and the stakeholders who really are thrilled with their experience at Point Loma. And I want the members of the Committee on Accreditation to know that glowing comments were pervasive throughout the visit to those that we were able to speak to. And so that is something that is important, that in these large programs, the students and the completers and the stakeholders who are working with Point Loma were very, very glowing of the relationship with the university and of their commitment to the community and their commitment to excellence. And I also want to highlight conversations that I did get to have with the president and the provost as well, who are fully supportive of Dean Erickson and the School of Education, so that any issue that we noted, we're confident is going to get fully addressed, not only from the School of Education, but from the top. So having said that, let's delve into the visit. Actually, I want to just thank one more group, obviously the team. And you heard a large team, and I do want to name them quickly because we did have a couple of new people, but so many veteran pros that I think were really critical as you take the moving pieces of this very complicated visit. And those individuals were Michael Kotar, Andrew Mullen, Gurley Hale, Madeline Miha, Jody Moody, Patrick McKee, Gregory Bellender, Judy Silva, Robert Williams, and again, the wonderful support by Sarah, just invaluable. And I can't thank the team and Sarah enough. So now let's delve into the accreditation findings. And let me first start with the findings and then a little bit of context of how we got to the findings. So first, with the common standards, we found that every common standard was fully met, except for Common Standard 2, Candidate Recruitment and Support, and Common Standard 4. And I'll go into some detail in a minute as to why those standards were met with concerns. And then with the program standards, all program standards were fully met as well, except for some standards were met with concerns and not met in these programs: the preliminary multiple and single subjects programs with intern, reading and literacy added authorization, the adapted physical education added authorization, teacher induction, and the PPS school counseling with intern. So again, let me pull this into context and how we got to the decision of accreditation with stipulations. So you'll see that there's met with concerns, and again, not met within these program standards, which is essentially bubbled up to those common standards met with concerns. So the large share of the enrollment at Point Loma is not in the programs that actually are the ones that we say are met with concerns. And so in our discussions as a team, and also in our discussions with Point Loma, realizing that there's unevenness where really there's the preponderance of the candidate population, those programs are well-oiled machines, and really the infrastructure behind ensuring that they're part of the accreditation system. If aspects come up with that's problematic, immediately addressed and those concerns, but less so with the programs that I mentioned as being met with concerns. I do want to highlight, and again, I want to compliment Point Loma. You probably have in front of you the report of how they have addressed concerns thus far. And it's a robust response. You've already seen most of the concerns have been addressed already to a certain extent, or in motion of getting addressed. The teacher induction program, which was probably the program that was of most concern to the team, is going to be closing. It's a very small program. It's a program that again isn't a keen the main focus of Point Loma, and I think is a wise decision for that consideration of program teach out. The other things that you'll see with the preconditions not being met, those are already have been done. And again, we were fully confident that the leadership was going to address those by this time, and they have. The other things, adapted PE, I want to mention, was a program that had a lot of change up until the visit, and the team wasn't able to see stakeholders that were able to talk about those changes because they haven't gone through them yet into the program. So again, I'm not going to go into details of the various stipulations because they're lengthy, and again, you've read those, but I want to put into context that I believe the team's feeling is these programs that have been addressed, there's some minor concerns, there's some that are larger. We're confident that those concerns are getting addressed, and through a revisit, we can check on the progress, and through an extra report, ensure that what we expect of the leadership and the team at Point Loma will indeed be executed. And from what I've seen thus far, there's nothing that would indicate that those any concern that we have seen will not be fully addressed by the time a revisit occurs. So that's pretty much the overview. And again, I'm happy to talk when it comes time for questions to answer further detail. But I think that encompasses the feeling of the team and how those areas of concern bubbled up. And just one more thing I want to say about the Common Standards 2 and 4. The advice and assistance, again, just that unevenness in the accreditation system for 4, those programs didn't seem to have those issues that are bubbling up to be able to be part of the assessment system in order to fully address candidates' needs. So we feel that with addressing those program standards, the common standards will likely again be fully addressed, no problem. So having said that, I'll pass that over to Sarah.
Thank you, Dr. Zeppos. Yeah.
Sorry, Anna.
Say something she can, but thank you for your assurances and your terrific report and setting up the context. I know I'm going out of turn a little bit, but the well-oiled machine, that really came through in the report. And I look forward to hearing from Dr. Erickson or anyone else from the institution at this time. I'll remind you that this is not an opportunity to dispute the findings, but rather to provide any thoughts you had on the visit. I think you know that line by heart.
First of all, we would very much like to thank our CTC consultant, Dr. Sarah Colombini, and the team lead, Dr. Christine Zeppos, as well as all of the members of the review team. It was I won't say it was easy, but it went well. It was a time and resources intensive experience for all of us, but we are grateful, very grateful for that investment in us and our programs. For the past 3 years, we've been working purposefully as an SOE team on the alignment of course learning objectives, assignments, formal assessments, and fieldwork to CTC Common and program standards. We've always looked at this process as one of continuous improvement and really look forward to the opportunity of gathering feedback on our unit and programs. Of the multiple programs we offer, the review found over 450 program standards and sub-elements of the standards that were met. We've addressed, as Dr. Zeppos said, the programmatic elements of the review classified as not met or met with concerns. Along with the review of the report team, you have access to a report we submitted about a month ago, I believe, of the steps we've already taken to better meet the 6 program standards that were not met and the 6 program standards that were found to be met with concerns. Additionally, earlier this morning, our teacher induction program was placed on inactive status. We only have 4 candidates in the program. They will all be taught out by next August. We're pleased with our community's response to the review process. It drew us together despite the challenges of the pandemic. It offered us external validation and identified areas where we could better serve our candidates and our K-12 partners. We value the continuous improvement process for our School of Ed community. And again, we thank the review team for their input and feedback. It was very helpful. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Erickson. Anyone else from the institution, would you like to say a few words? Okay. Are there any, does any member of the public wish to comment on this item?
Seeing no comments.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the committee members? Member Chakowski.
Yeah, I'm looking at 426 candidate interviews. That's intense. I mean, I think one of the strengths of this report is the huge number of people that you talk to. And every time you talk to lots of people, right, you're going to hear a lot of suggestions that will inform, forward progress. So having survived program review of a microscopically smaller scale, hats off to everybody who got all these people in the same room online to do this. That's quite a heroic endeavor.
During the first 2 weeks of being back in school.
All right, thank you. Any other members of the Committee on Accreditation? All All right. This isn't action.
Hey, Mike had his hand
I
up.
got
Sorry.
it. Member Hillis?
Yeah, I'm just curious if you could talk to us a little bit about the question that was raised regarding TPA preparation and how you resolve that as a preparation program.
Sure, I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Hamilton Bunch.
Good morning. Just to clarify, it was the through line of the TPEs and their connection to the TPAs that the candidates did not see as clearly as they needed to. So it's more intentional, I guess, communication from the beginning of the program through the end of the program, how the TPEs inform the TPAs. You can see in our document how we're going to address that, but I think the most important piece is helping our supervisors, our university supervisors, better understand the connection between the TPEs and the TPAs, as well as we have a scope and sequence at the bottom of every syllabus that says this is how this class informs TPEs and TPAs, but we weren't leaning into making that very visible to the candidates. So it's there, but we weren't consistently in every course visiting that document that was already there. So the candidates didn't see that connection, and the supervisors, frankly, didn't see the connection between TPEs and TPAs as fully as they needed to. So we're going to address that with further training of our supervisors, further conversation with our adjuncts, making that part of a permanent aspect of Canvas so that every course has that embedded in the electronic delivery of the course. Our courses are face-to-face, but it will also be in Canvas for them to see visibly. So we think that will ameliorate that gap between us thinking that they know that the TPEs are related to the TPAs and them actually knowing it. So that really came out of candidate interview and their lack of seeing that through line. Well, our lack of making sure they saw that through line. That wasn't them, that was us.
Member Chakowski, thank you.
Yeah, Jill, I was just going to also say that in our district, we started with induction, then we added teacher residency. So we had this kind of TPA driven, mode of interacting with these new teachers. And then when the residents came in, we thought, oh, well, we'll just map the TPEs down onto this, ongoing interaction we have with them. And I think that was actually kind of productive to embed not only with the supervisors, but with the guide teachers that the candidates were working with, so that they were all kind of talking about this thing called the individual, like a transition plan that would become the ILP. So I don't know, to the degree that the guide teachers even can be co-opted to use the language of the TPEs when they do classroom observations, that was like something that we learned through residency that I think ultimately resulted in a high percentage of, TPA pass among participants. It's because we're just using the language that they're used to be assessed in, right? It's like written, taught, tested all together.
Thank you. Member Larson.
Just wanted to express the appreciation for the institution's response to the preconditions findings. As Dr. Zeppos mentioned, it was a very robust document and showed the institution's ability to address concerns in a timely manner and in a complete manner. To see items that have been addressed already or are calendared to be addressed in the fall showed the program's ability to recognize what needed to be done and to get things done quickly and in an appropriate manner as well. So I haven't seen that before. This is only my first year on the committee on accreditation, but I really did appreciate having that information.
Any other questions or comments for the committee? From the committee? This is an action item. Do I have a motion? Member Almas.
I move we accept the team report and recommendation for accreditation with stipulations for Point Loma Nazarene University.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Member Chakowski. We will now do a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye, opposed say no. Secretary, please call the names.
Cynthia Almos,
Aye.
Jolene Belatayo,
Aye.
Kathy Krisha,
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski,
Aye.
Bob Fraley,
Aye.
Mike Hillis,
Aye.
Lynn Larson,
Aye.
Anna Moore,
Aye.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Terrific. Motion carries. Congratulations. And thank you, Drs. Erickson, Hamilton Bunch, Cork, Zeppos, and Colombini. What an amazing site visit and report. It was terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. That takes us to item 17, which is the report of the Provisional site visit accreditation team to the University of California, Merced. Consultant Bob Locks will introduce this item. Also joining him is team lead Judy Silva and institutional representatives Dr. Jill Orcutt, Dean, Dr. Mari Harris, Director, and Michael Pierick, Administrative Officer, Enrollment Management and Office of Extension. Does anyone need to recuse themselves? No. Mr. Locks, will you begin, please?
Certainly. The visit to UC Merced was held virtually from May 16th to 19th, and there were no other unusual circumstances surrounding the visit. The team felt they were able to have an accurate understanding of the institution, and all were in agreement with the recommendations. This is the second provisional site visit report for you today, similar to High Tech High Graduate School of Education that was presented earlier this morning. All the institutions that went through provisional accreditation site visits this year had the extra challenge of dealing with COVID and the flexibilities that entailed them changing some of their parameters of their program that they were just in their second year of implementing. Combine that with the program director at UC Merced leaving after the first year and a new director coming in, and Merced had an uphill battle to coordinate a successful provisional site visit, but did so admirably. I will now have team lead Judy Silva share the team's recommendations.
Bob, it's so wonderful to see the faces that we spent so much time with. It feels like just a few weeks ago. The provisional site visit for UC Merced was the first for the members of the team. And like Bob said, the virtual visit ran exceptionally smoothly, due in large part to the efforts of Michael Pierick, who's with us today, and the rest of the UC Merced Teacher Preparation Program team led by Mari Harris. So thank you. We had the great fortune of speaking with a great representation of stakeholders in the TPP programs, and the team could certainly empathize with the impact that the global pandemic had on a new program. Those challenges, along with others, provided some context to recognize the significance of the great work being done at UC Merced to meet the needs of their community in the Central Valley, with a focus on culturally responsive practices and social justice in the preparation of teachers to serve the area. These challenges also inform areas ripe for improvement in the program, and those areas for improvement were clearly recognized by the program leadership before the visit, as plans to address them were visible at the visit. As I review the findings, please note the team has every confidence that UC Merced will both grow and improve to make their impact felt throughout the region. So our overall recommendation for the TPP, Teacher Preparation Program at UC Merced, is accreditation with stipulations. The preliminary multiple and single subject credential program standards were met, with the exception of 2 program standards that were met with concerns: clinical practice and monitoring and supporting students' progress towards meeting the credential requirements. And there were common standard 4, continuous improvement, was met with concerns as well. The team recommends that within 1 year, the institutions submit a report detailing how these issues have been addressed in the program. So 1 was evidence of the implementation of the comprehensive continuous improvement process. utilizing the systems and tools developed inclusive of the candidate performance data and input from key stakeholders. A second component of this is presenting evidence of the implementation of a process to monitor candidate progress and determine support needs for specific teaching performance expectations. And finally, that they present evidence that cooperating teachers receive 10 hours of initial training, particularly around program expectations. What we found in the visit was there were many informal relational processes to address many of these issues, but they needed more formal and sustainable processes. And that was sort of the basis for our recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, Ms. Silva. We now invite the institutional representatives to briefly comment about the visit. We remind you that this is not a time to dispute the team's report, but rather to provide any thoughts you had about the visit.
So good afternoon. Oh, go ahead, Jill. Go ahead, Mari. I just wanted to thank Bob and Judy. We really appreciate their review team and the seamless effort they made to participate in the efforts we took to bring everybody together. They were very, very accommodating to our schedule. They were also very good at responding and giving us feedback. So I just want to thank them for being accessible to our team. We had lots of questions and they were there to help and support us with responses. So I want to thank you for that. And just really the overall CTC review really helped us understand our programming. And we needed that after my being in position for 1 year. It was good to be able to bring the team together and find out what was really going on in the midst of all the words and the paperwork. So I just wanted to say thank you to both of them for their support of our program and their honest feedback on what our next steps need to be.
And I would just like to add, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jill Orchid, and I'm the Dean of Extension. And I would just like to say thank you, not only to the CTC site visit, but to all of you. It was a learning process. We learned a lot, but I do want to assure you that we're committed to not only, building, but maintaining a high quality teacher preparation program. And we appreciate all the feedback. We appreciate that Bob and Judy were very accessible and helpful and just answering all of our questions, but also being supportive. So I just want to say thank you. And again, we are committed to producing a very high quality program to serve not only the Central Valley, but certainly the state of California.
Thank you so much. Any other comments from the institution? Okay. Does any member of the public wish to make a comment on this item?
Seeing no comments on it.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the committee members? I would say that it's clear from your comments that you are truly committed. You saw this as a learning process. I understand when there's a change in leadership that there are challenges that go above and beyond program implementation, some historical knowledge, knowledge about how the process works. And sometimes, coming on the, getting the job and then having a site visit really kind of ramps you up. Like you got to know, and stuff that might have taken years for you to get into. Now you know, and you're ready to go. And it's super exciting time for all of you. And I have no doubt that you are going to continue to grow and improve the program. You are so dedicated. That clearly comes through in your comments, and appreciate all the information in the report from Ms. Silva also. Any other comments from the committee members? That's because your report was so thorough, Ms. Silva. That's what I say. It's like when my emails are, I don't have any emails, I must be communicating well. All right.
Hey, Jamaline Balatayo, I think. Did you have your hand up?
This is just a, just a follow-up. I just wanted to ask, how is your plan to convene a teacher practitioner advisory board and to jumpstart your annual assessment timeline going?
That's going very well. It was really great for us to see through the review what we needed to do. And so we were proactive. And we knew that we were going to have this practitioner board, and we knew that we needed to have a continuous improvement cycle where the evidence was all there for all to see. So those things are being implemented, and we already had a plan at the time of the review that we shared with the review team. So the practitioner board, we've already got community folks that we're going to put on that, that we've recommended to our Dean, Jill Orcutt, to put on that practitioner board. And we've already been working with our team on campus to make sure that we've got a continuous improvement process that we can embed into the campus process as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Right. This is an action item. Do I have a motion? Member Balatayo.
So I move that we accept the report of the recommendation of accreditation with stipulations for UC Merced.
Great, thank you. And a second? Member Taylor? We will now do a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Ms. Bernardo?
Cynthia Almos.
Aye.
Jomeline Balatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Grisha.
Aye.
Katrina Tchaikovsky.
Aye.
Bob Fraley.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Aye.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, round of applause. All right, thank you, Dr. Orcutt, Dr. Harris, Ms. Pierick. Oh, that is Mr. Pierick, Ms. Sofa, and Mr. Lux. Have a great week. Thank you. All right. That gives us an option right here to go to item 15. I'm going to recommend that we do lunch and come back at 12:45. Do item 15 at 12:45, and then we'll be ready for our time starting at 1 o'clock.
Sounds great.
All right. We'll see you in 45 minutes. Have a great lunch.
Thank you.
So we're just waiting on maybe Lynn and Katrina. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are returning to item 15, which is the discussion of the COA meeting dates for 2022. And analyst Michelle Bernardo, your secretary when you call our names, and analyst when you present a report. Two titles. Although I would say secretary is a bit outdated. Okay, Ms. Bernardo, will you begin, please?
Sure. So staff has prepared a proposed schedule for the COA meeting dates for the 2022 calendar year with a few options for you all to discuss. In the past, the members of the COA agreed that the preferred dates to meet are Thursday and Friday. So you'll notice in the table in the item that most of the dates that are listed there are scheduled for Thursday and Friday with a few exceptions. We will be starting site visits for the Violet cohort will begin the fall of this year, so we'll keep those dates into consideration. And these meetings will be 2 days, 2-day meetings with the exception of the August meeting, which will be scheduled 1 day, and that's typically a teleconference meeting. So I think we will go through and the table, if you want to open up your calendars, and on page 4 of the item is the table with the dates that we have that we're proposing.
I have a question actually before we proceed.
Sure.
So I've only been on this committee virtually. So, and all of our meetings so far this year, I think so pretty much have been 1-day meetings. And so I'm just wondering, like, how do in-person meetings work and travel and all those kinds of things? And if that's outside the scope of what we should be discussing today, that's fine. But I just wanted to kind of understand the in-person process since I haven't experienced that.
Sure. Do you want me to take that, Michelle, or you want it?
You can take it, or Erin.
Sure. So generally the 2-day meetings are really like a day and a half. So we leave one of the half a day for your travel, essentially. So either we'll start the morning of the first day, do like a full morning, and then the half a day, which especially if it's a Thursday or Friday, travel tends to be heavier on a Friday. So we try to, be done at a fairly early time on Friday by noon if we can, so that you can get on your way and get home. We know there's parts of the state that are hard to get back to at a decent hour on a Friday afternoon, but that's generally how it works. We pay for either 1 or 2 nights of your stay, depending on when we start. We have also in the past, here or there, started, when it's up to the committee, when there's issues, we have also started late on the first day and then gone over to the next day. But we try to consolidate it as much as possible so that you aren't losing as much of your own time and your own work as possible. So it really depends on what's on the agenda. As you see, we've tried, both Erin and I tried to remove a day if we can from your calendar. If we can get it all on one day, that's what we try to do. It's the spring ones that are always the hardest because there's a lot of site visits in that time frame. So the March, April, and May, and sometimes June are all the heaviest of your calendars. So, Erin, what did I leave out?
I don't think anything. I was just thinking in terms of traveling in the day before. I mean, we typically have 2, 3, maybe, a small handful of COA members who live in an area that's difficult to get flights or if they have to drive in. So we can make accommodations for the evening before if you have to travel in the night before. Because we do still tend to begin the meetings at about 9. If we do a Thursday, Friday, we do still tend to begin at about 9. And then, as Cheryl said, we might start a little later the second day, like 10, 10:30, 11 or something. But yeah, trying to get folks out in time to make afternoon flights, etc. And then, of course, overnight accommodations for, if it's a Thursday, Friday visit, definitely overnight accommodations for Thursday night.
Mm-hmm. And they will help you with finding a hotel. Usually there's a hotel we make a deal with that gives us a state rate. You can get your own hotel, which is what I would do at times because I want to stay in a certain part of Sacramento. But you still get reimbursed at the state rate, whatever is right at that time, the state rate. It does change sometimes. And then there's a form you'll fill out at the end of every meeting that allows you to, basically claim some meals, not all of them, depending on when your travel is. And that's really helpful. And there's a travel agent that will help you with flights for those of you that have to fly. And usually you have some nice downtime in the evenings, and time for breakfast and coffee at one of the wonderful places surrounding the CCTC.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And even time to do work. A lot of us work at lunch if we need to, if we have to answer emails and whatnot. But there's lots of food around the CCTC where you can get breakfast or lunch or supper. It's really nicely located with regards to Sacramento itself.
And you're probably wondering when we'll be in person, and we don't know the answer to that yet. The commission itself has not gone yet in person. And our staff is still working primarily remotely. We do have a core group that's here in the office, but mostly professional services divisions are still working remotely. So we're waiting on sort of the governor's office and some signals from above to tell us what the plan is for state workers in California. And then we'll know a little bit more about whether the commission is going to come back to in-person meetings, and then that'll help us figure out what to do with COA and COC, which is the other group that meets.
Cheryl, regarding that on the August meeting for this coming August, are we to presume that one will most likely be online?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's a safe bet, especially because that is typically an online one for us. As it's in August, there's not a lot of business. We put an August meeting on because we're trying to get any last minute programs able to be up and running that have been going through the pipeline. So it's primarily for that purpose. And if we have any other things we put on that need to go on, we do that. But yeah, that's usually a very short meeting, a half a day at the most, usually.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so I've discovered something gravely important. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so June 29th and 30th is a Wednesday and Thursday, not a Tuesday, Wednesday, as it says.
Thank you.
Marty. I just made my important contribution to the meeting.
Thank you. It is important.
So I have another question just out of curiosity. So is it a state requirement that this committee meets in person? Is that why? Because it seems to be working really well remotely and for the districts and the programs that are being reviewed and so on. So I'm just wondering if that's a consideration just for logistics for everybody who's involved in coming to these meetings and presenting and so on.
I would say the answer to that is pre-COVID, yes, it was. There were very specific things you had to do to meet, to allow a member to meet through technology. That changed with the governor's emergency orders during COVID. I don't know what it's going to look like. There may be changes in the future to the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. For instance, everybody would, in the old days, everybody would have to put, if we had a virtual meeting, you'd have to allow the public to come into your space physically if they wanted to attend. They were able to attend every single one of your locations. So whether it was in your own home or at your university or at your school campus, you would have to notify, you'd have to put a note on the door, you'd have to let any member of the public in. So that changed with COVID, but there's still some, I'm not sure how that will change in the future post opening up.
Okay, Michelle, what are our next steps here?
So we'll be going through the table of the dates. Again, just a reminder for the rest of this year, August 16th would be the next meeting after this June meeting, and then October 28th and 29th for the October meeting.
So starting
we'll
with February.
We'll start with January, February. We're looking at towards the end of January, so January 27th and 28th, February 3rd and 4th, and then February 24th and 25th. You'll notice that the bolded dates are the staff preference of dates, just considering meetings or events, activities that are going on around staff activities as well. Are there any dates that do not work for any of you?
if it's possible to avoid December 14th through 16th of 2022, I would like to do that.
December, is that what you said?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd just like to say I'm glad we are skipping February 2nd, Groundhog Day, because I hate to repeat the meeting day after day after day.
Thank you, Bob.
Does anyone have a preference of dates for January, February?
All of the highlighted dates in bold work for me currently.
Okay.
Yeah, I say let's go with those.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess we could entertain a motion, I guess, Anna. It sounds like.
We need, do we need to discuss the December request by Dr. Taylor?
Well, if we take it chronologically, we can get to that. I mean, do we have a scheduled number of meetings we have to make? Maybe we'll have made them by the time we get there and we won't have to do it.
No.
So are we picking either the January or the February dates?
Yes.
So my question would be, would it be advantageous for us to go February, because there would have been a commission meeting prior to that, and the COA could be updated on what happened at the commission meeting. Is it advantageous for us to go before the full meeting of the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, or is it advantageous for us to go afterwards, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know, but others may have a more informed position.
Cheryl?
I don't think it really matters. By then, we should have a good sense of what will be on the commission meeting agenda, but it's really hard to do the dance between the two. It doesn't. There are some advantages to you being after, because like it was just last week, we were able to give you an update on the emergency regs and that kind of thing. But in terms of staff workload, it's really hard to have them that close together, because we're preparing for two meetings at the same time. So our preference would be the 3rd, 4th, as it's indicated here. But we can still do the 24th if that's what you wanted to do. The commission meeting is the 10th, 11th.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing then.
So I'm suggesting February 3rd and 4th. Right?
Yeah. Is everybody on the same page? Page 4, item 15?
Page 4.
Page 4. Oh, okay. Oh.
So the ones in bold are the staff's preference, but we've given you a couple of alternatives if those don't work for you.
So there's no December meeting, Kevin.
There's no December meeting.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing entirely.
No problem.
Sorry.
So can we approve all of them in one motion?
Sure. Absolutely.
Member Chakowski?
I move that we plan to meet for the next academic year according to the highlighted items on page 4 of item 15.
Great. Do I have a second? Member Co-Chair Fraley, did you have a comment?
I had a comment on the March dates. There's a good chance I'll be at a conference that week, March 24, 25.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yep.
All right. Do I have a second? Second by Balatayo, Member Balatayo. Analyst, will you do the roll?
Cynthia Alamos.
Aye.
Jomaline Volatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Krisha.
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski.
Aye.
Bob Fraley.
Abstain.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Abstain.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Do we have a quorum? Motion carried. Okay, terrific. Thank you, Ms. Bernardo.
You're welcome.
All right. That takes us to, we are on time, almost. Item 18, which is the report of the accreditation team to Pleasanton Unified School District. Is everyone here?
I am promoting them to panelists right now.
Consultant Poonam Betty will introduce this item. Joining her are team lead Carol Klaus and institutional representatives Dr. Janelle Wood, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Kimberly Ortiz, PNTP Director, Julie Twisselman, PNTP Coordinator and Coach, and Julie Hernandez, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Does anyone need to recuse themselves?
Mr. Hernandez will not be with us this afternoon.
Thank you. Great. All right, Ms. Betty, will you begin, please?
Yes. Good afternoon, committee members. It's good to see you all again. Item 18 presents the report of the team for the Pleasanton Unified School District's accreditation site visit. The site visit occurred from March 22nd to March 24th of this year. The site visit came at a particularly difficult transitional time for the Pleasanton Unified School District. Prior to the start of this past academic year, 2020-2021, the veteran induction secretary who had knowledge regarding the accreditation cycle and commission processes had retired. And this was also the year in which Pleasanton Unified School District broke away from being the lead program sponsor for the Tri-Valley Teacher Induction Project Consortium, as you would have seen in the report. So this was their first year operating as a single district program under the title of Pleasanton New Teacher Project. And also during that same month of March, this was also when the district began transitioning back to hybrid/concurrent learning. So I just wanted to provide that context. I would now like to thank the Pleasanton Unified School District for their flexibility and for the team that we work with, the program leadership in regards to the additional interviews and documentation that they provided as requested by the team. And I would also like to thank the site visit team for their flexibility before, during, and after the site visit, and also for the time that they had spent dedicated to this visit. And with that, I would like to turn things over to Carol, the team lead, to go over the team's findings.
You're muted, Ms. Klaus.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we need at least one of those per meeting, so thank you.
I just had to make sure you're on your toes there. Hello, committee members. First, I'd like to thank the Pleasanton School District and their induction team for their response to our request and the organization of the documentation and all of the site visit preparations. I'd like to thank our site visit team. They spent many hours making sure we didn't miss anything. So a special thanks to Lavon Chastain and Jill Barnes, who spent numerous hours going over documentation and making decisions about this visit, and also their flexibility in being available to conduct pre-interviews the week before the visit. And a special thanks to Poonam. Thank you for your leadership and clarification on this visit, and also your willingness to seek additional information from the commission admin in answering our tough questions. So some positives about the program. They have full-time release mentors, and candidates mentioned how great it was to have a mentor that meets with them regularly and provides support both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And Julie and Kim are the heart of the program. Without them, the program would not be functioning. They not only run the program, but also do professional development, support coaches and candidates. And since only the program leadership has the historical knowledge, the team was worried that they need to build capacity for the future. So throughout this visit, we had some concerns, and there are three big ones that we were concerned about. So we are going to be sharing that with the team found today. and what our recommendations were of accreditation. One theme was lack of data analysis. There needs to be a systematic approach by the unit and all relevant stakeholders to make decisions about the program. Data may be collected by the program, but how it is analyzed, shared, and how decisions were made were not present. Their documentation overview shows that they have a goal of continuous program improvement and that they systematically collect and analyze data. However, the comprehensive continuous improvement cycle at both the unit and program levels was not evidenced during this site visit. The program has yet to implement a continuous improvement process to regularly assess the quality of services through data analysis and develop program recommendations with the partnerships of stakeholders, including institutions of higher education. Another theme was lack of resources that are allocated to the program. The program lost a key position with retirement of the program secretary, and that has remained unfilled. There's also a need for a special education coach, which was relevant to the needs of the program now. This theme ties into the concern is the support of the program's educational specialist support. This was an issue not only at the program level, but at the district level. The two themes previously mentioned also influence this concern. It's a concern at the district level that is trickling down to all levels of special education in the district. General education coaches were assigned to educational specialist candidates, and even though those candidates thoroughly appreciated all the support from the gen ed coaches, there was a strong message from the candidates that they needed additional educational specialist support in the areas of IEPs and legal requirements. An additional district support for candidates, though not a formal induction support, was by program specialists. At the time of visit, there were several openings for program specialists within the district, so that extra layer of support was not present. At the schools with no program specialists, site administrators were filling the gaps for expertise.
Okay, number one, cool your attitude with me.
Teacher induction program standard 1 was found to be met.
I will see.
Programs 2, 4, and 5, and 6 were met with concerns, and program 3 was found to be not met. Common standards 1 and 4 were not met, and 2, 3, and 5 were met with concerns. So our overall recommendation, we completed a thorough review of Pleasanton Unified School District's teacher induction programs documents, interview with candidates, completers, coaches, site administrators, and program and district leadership. And based on those findings from this review, the team unanimously recommends a decision of accreditation with probationary stipulations. You will find the stipulations listed on page 3 and the top of page 4 in the report, including quarterly written documentation to the team lead and commission consultant, documenting all actions to remove the stipulations noted above and hosting a revisit within 1 year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Klaus and Ms. Betty. And we appreciate all the time and effort you took to ensure the report was accurate, and will provide the necessary guidance for this amazing team with the loss of their historical record keeper and so basis of support. This will certainly provide them with that guidance. At this time, we now invite institutional representatives to briefly comment about the visit. We remind you that this is not a time to dispute the team's report, but rather to provide any thoughts you had about the visit.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Kim Ortiz, and I'm a director in the Human Resources Division and the current director of the Pleasanton New Teacher Project. I see some familiar faces on this call, as I've worked with many of you over the 20 years that I've been involved in induction, working with not only Pleasanton Unified, but the New Teacher Center, working with induction programs and consulting up and down the state of California and from East Coast to West Coast in leadership induction. So in Pleasanton, we value the accreditation process. and the continuous improvement model. As we've been focused on continuous improvement since I started this work, like I said, 20 years ago. In 2012, during our last site visit, we were considered a model program in California. We had 95 stakeholders from 5 different school districts participate in the interview process. All standards were met, and we were the first program to use a secured website to house all documents, which then became the gold standard. So we were really proud of that. And based on our continuous program data collection and analysis, our program, we believe, has only gotten better over time, based on our candidates, based on our administrators, and based on our coach feedback. In 2020, we navigated a huge change from a consortium to a single district during a global pandemic. And as you know, one of the most challenging times in the history of education. Despite all the challenges, we were proud of the outstanding support our newest teachers received. We were able to wrap our arms around them in our program, as reflected by 95% year-end survey completion data and an overwhelmingly positive feedback. When we disaggregated between our ed specialists and our general ed, the comments were, "Thank God I have a coach. I wish my coach could follow me into year 3." So we were shocked when we received an accreditation status 1 level above denial. We were. So when we fast forward to the March 2021, the site accreditation visit, there were many challenges we were facing. There were 487 certificated staff members absent leading up to the visit and on the day of the visit, given the COVID vaccine launch. We also, as Carol mentioned, and I appreciate that, the start, and Poonam as well, the start of hybrid concurrent instruction, which is a new pedagogical shift for all of us. And despite some of the uncomfortable and just, I'm going to use the word shocking comments around, we can't blame the pandemic. COVID is behind us. We want to ensure that credentials aren't being sold under the table. Those comments left a pit in our stomach, and we just have been reflecting and know that we will meet these stipulations. We know that our reviewers had so much to review and we're on a tight schedule, though we wish we would have had an opportunity to talk more. But again, it was just a crazy time. We look forward to meeting these stipulations. We've already made great progress. We launched our first advisory team meeting with 5 university representatives, a total of 25 people, on May 20th at the end of a pandemic school year. We were able to analyze data. We've posted for an ed specialist full-time release coach. So our district, Pleasanton, does provide the resources that we need in moving forward. That posting closes tomorrow, and we'll be interviewing for such candidates. And then lastly, we are in the process of disaggregating our data, and we've already moved actually back into the HR department, though we straddle both in teaching and learning and HR. We have a secretary that will be working directly with Induction, as well as a coordinator of certificated staff. So there are components in place that we look forward to documenting in this first quarterly report. Please know our goal has always been to accelerate the development of our newest educators sooner in their career versus later by providing just-in-time support while keeping an eye to long-term professional development. As a mom of a new teacher, I completely understand, by putting my ear to the door when she was teaching remotely, to knowing what our teachers were experiencing, I was really proud of what Pleasanton had to offer our newest educators, because I needed to wrap my arms around my daughter as she was working with 7th grade world history students. So we will continue to move forward, doing the very best to meet the challenges that this next school year will bring.
Thank you, Ms. Ortez. Anyone else from Pleasanton would like to say a few words? No?
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Julie Twisselman. I have worked with Kim as our program director for many, many years. And I think she really captured everything I wanted to say. I do appreciate all the reviewers and the time they spent. But I would have loved the opportunity after the mid-visit report to just have a meeting to go over the numbers of questions they still had. And the comments in the final report indicated there was some misunderstanding about some of the processes in our team. And I would have really appreciated having a little bit more time during that visit so we could clarify that information.
Thank you. Your feedback's important to us too, so appreciated. All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Woodward, and I would like to also thank everyone here today for this opportunity to be able to attend, hear your reasoning. I have read through the report. Ms. Ortiz and I have spent countless hours reviewing it and digging into the evidence and the documentation that the team was hoping to gain on our visit. And I think Kim captured it very, very well by just saying that we have been known as an outstanding program in prior years, and we appreciate the support and the feedback. We have already acted very swiftly. As we also were transitioning students back to campus at the same time, we have acted swiftly to implement the direction provided in the report. I do just want to reiterate, though, the shock that we all experienced when the findings were presented to us during the review. And Kim had mentioned a question about credentials being given out or sold under the table or whatever that was. And that was, I met that with some objection because we strive to implement the highest standard of professionalism and take this work very seriously. So I just would like to assure the entire team that's with us today that we will rectify everything. I know that this is not a time for us to dispute, but I struggle with the recommendation that is being given. However, we will move forward and we will continue to work at making this the very best induction program in the state of California.
Thank you, Dr. Woodward. I appreciate your comments. At this time, does any member of the public wish to comment on this item?
Seeing no comment.
All right. I'd like to start off with the comments from committee members by just saying, reiterating, we appreciate your feedback, your comments, your sentiment. I know that several of us in the room know your work and have no doubt that you will, within a short period of time, have addressed all the standards and revealed things that will really solidify that you have met the standards. And I wish I was going to be here to read that quarterly report because I know it's going to be outstanding. And again, you're going to do amazing things as you move forward. You already have. So you will continue to move forward. And I know that the team that visited did their very deepest hard work to reveal evidence. And maybe it was a perfect storm of boy, howdy, the pandemic just threw us a lot of, tough things to overcome when we were doing the work of the day. Just opening schools and dealing with sick friends and closing schools and teachers who don't come to work and the mentor, the coach that didn't come and couldn't come. And I just can't imagine what was happening out there in induction world. So I want to thank everybody who was part of this process. And please know that I know that I can speak on behalf of quite a few people in this room that we have all the faith in you for moving forward with this program. So now that I hogged up a bunch of time, I thank you for listening. Member Chakowski.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kim and Julie and team, and Janelle also for coming here And I am quite in receive mode as I listen to you, both the contents of the report, as well as, comments that you've made regarding the history of your program, and frankly, some contention with the content of the report. I will say for my district, we went through a program review 2 years ago. And the last thing our human resources director sort of said to me shortly before he retired was, wow, it's a really good thing you had your program review when you did, because if it had happened like last year, very different conclusion would have been reached. And like our programs vary in terms of like the attention that they get and in terms of the resources they're allocated. And frankly, during a pandemic, the priority they occupy within all the things district leaders have to handle, right? So the only reason why I'm making this comment is just to say that I think as a member of the COA and also as the leader of an induction program, what I appreciate about this whole process is it forces us as a system, regardless of conditions and changing times and financial ebb and flow, it forces us to prioritize new teachers. It forces us to say they're important. I think we can all agree that that's in fact the case. And I think that's our collective purpose, is to try to design and implement and monitor and track and improve good programs, and also to communicate the message statewide that California cares about the future of its educators. So from that vantage point, I do think we have common ground within any LEA across our state. So thanks for being here. I think that we're all trying to find a way to make forward progress so that our students can become empowered. And that's ultimately what we all need to be focused on. So I can empathize and relate, and I appreciate your continued efforts and your pride in your program. That resonates with me as well. I'll see you at one of those induction conferences one of these days.
Thank you. Well stated. Any other comments or questions from the committee members? Member Taylor.
Thank you. And thank you for your commitment to addressing the concerns outlined in the report. When I was listening to the timeline around hiring, it was then followed with a comment that you say the district provides support. But as someone that doesn't know your program, listening to the timing of all of this, and I realize that we're in a pandemic and absolutely unprecedented times, but it sort of sounds like the district supports you, but they support you when you're under threat of losing your accreditation. How would you respond to that?
I'll go ahead and take that one, and I appreciate the question. The district has supported this program wholeheartedly and 100% from the get-go. As we transitioned last year into being a single district program, we have sought to support this program, and Kim and I have met on a weekly basis to discuss the status of the program, the needs of the new teachers, the concerns for teachers who needed more support. We took steps to intervene to provide the support given within the fact that we were experiencing many other glitches that were pandemic related. So as a member of the executive cabinet, to think that we would only support this when we are at risk of losing our induction in a district that prides itself on providing the very best education to all students. And the only way to do that is by developing professional capacity for every single teacher, especially our new teachers. I will share with the group, I don't agree that that is consistent with how we support any program, let alone this very important induction program.
Thank you, Dr. Woodward. Any other questions or comments from the Committee on Accreditation at this time? Member Chakowski?
Yeah, just to follow that and say, well, looking forward to learning more. I mean, and seeing how communication and the fog clears when conditions are more predictable, I guess. is what I would offer, assuming that we accept this recommendation.
Kim, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to follow up on Dr. Woodward's comment. Being in this role for over 20 years, with changes in leadership, changes in personnel, changes in new teachers, one constant is that the Pleasanton Unified School District Board of Trustees has committed to funding induction for our newest educators over $500,000 every single year. So when it comes to resources, they have prioritized new teachers since 2002, 2003, when we initially submitted. And I have felt very fortunate to be in a place where full release, we know time is the rare commodity, and teachers having someone there during the day when children are there has been a priority. So I just needed to state that, because again, that is the heart of our program, is having a well-trained coach there during the day while children are there. And the district, no matter, even if I were gone, if Julie was gone, if I know that this has been a priority for them. So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, over the decades, that's been my impression for Pleasanton. And congratulations on moving out on your own. That's super exciting too. Yep. That autonomy is nice, and still working together with your colleagues.
And it's definitely a win-win, because our former partners we're still meeting regionally and embracing our San Ramon colleagues. So San Ramon, Dublin, Pleasanton, Castro Valley, and Livermore are collaborating once a month on average. So we want to wrap our arms around all the new teachers in our region.
Right. And still having the time to really focus on your own constituents. That's really nice. Yeah. Member Chakowski?
Yeah, at risk of being annoying, I just have one other question. When you talk about the $500,000, Kim, like, can you be more specific? Is that general fund money? Is that Title II money? I don't know if that's okay for you to tell us that, but I think it might be instructive for us to know how a transition like yours occurred and how the funding was ensured moving forward.
I can comment in that when we had the shift, the LCFF, when that shift in funding occurred, we, categoricals, even before LCFF, categoricals had gone away. It was just in one large bucket, if you will. And it was up to local school boards to make decisions on how to use those funds. So the $763,195 that was dedicated to induction back in the day, that those dollars have been used. So what was induction dollars? Those are most of the dollars that are used to support the program.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any more questions, comments? This is an action item. Do I have a motion? Member Chakowski.
I'll move that we accept the report for the accreditation report for Pleasanton as an accreditation with probationary stipulations.
Thank you. Second, Member Bellatayo. We will now do a roll call vote. All those in favor.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
So I just have a technical suggestion on the stipulations, and this is very technical. On stipulation 9, it talks about the quarterly report going to the team lead and to the commission consultant, but it really officially goes to the COA. So I would hope if you are all okay with that one be just provide quarterly written documentation to the Committee on Accreditation. It'll go through the team lead and the consultant, but it really is for you as a committee.
So do we set a friendly amendment?
Exactly.
Okay.
If the folks would agree to that.
So
I can revise my motion to say that we accept it as written with the change on item 9 of the word consultant to COA.
Right.
Perfect. Okay. And then our Jolene, your member Balatayo, your second stays in. Okay, great. And we will now do a roll call vote.
Cynthia Almos.
Aye.
Jolene Balatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Kershaw.
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski.
Aye.
Bob Fraley.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Aye.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, well done. We look forward to seeing you or hearing your quarterly report and your efforts. Good luck with your interviews next week. And I hope you just get just that right magical person to take on the Ed Specialist program.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this afternoon and inviting us to be a part of this.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, that takes us to item 19, which is the report of the provisional site visit, our third for the day, with the accreditation team to Los Virgenes Unified School District. Do we have everyone here?
I am admitting them now.
All right. Consultants William Hetrick and Dr. Michelle Williams-George will introduce this item. Joining them is team lead Kimberly Lowenthal and institutional representative Ryan Gleason. Does anyone need to recuse themselves?
Yes, I do.
Who's I do? Oh, Member Hillis.
Yep.
All right. Mr. Hetrick, will you begin, please?
Sure. Good afternoon, committee members. The virtual provisional site visit for the Las Virgenes Unified School District took place May 10th through 12th for full approval of their preliminary and clear administrative services programs and their teacher induction program. The visit proceeded with all normal protocols, and I'd really like to thank my colleague, Michelle Williams-George, for her invaluable assistance with this site visit. Team lead Kim Lilienthal and our other 3 team members were dedicated to ensuring that all the evidence was thoroughly reviewed in a limited time frame and extremely thoughtful when deliberating on the standards findings. LVUSD completed stage 3 of the initial institutional approval process and received provisional approval from the Commission in September 2017. The PASC and CASC programs have been operating since January 2018 and teacher induction since fall of 2018. In order to assist the institution with preparing for their site visit as a requirement of stage 5 of the IIA process, CTC staff began working with the institution in October of 2020. And then program review for each of the 3 programs was submitted in January of this year, with the common standards submitted in February. The feedback from the team was then transmitted to Las Virgenes, and their accreditation website was ready for review in April. After a comprehensive review of evidence, data, and completion of stakeholder interviews, the site visit team determined findings on each of the common and program standards, drafted stipulations, and is recommending a status of accreditation with stipulations. This decision was made after reviewing the various definitions for accreditation statuses outlined in the handbook, namely that for accreditation with stipulations, the institution is judged to be generally effective in preparing educators in its general operations apart from the identified areas of concern, and that these concerns are confined to specific issues that minimally impact program quality. I'll now hand it over to team lead Kim Lilienthal for more information on the specific standards findings.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. As William mentioned, we reviewed evidence and heard interview after interview of the great work that Ryan and Las Virgenes Unified School District are doing for all of their educator preparation candidates. It really was a positive visit. And it's really important for us to note and kind of highlight a bit more, in addition to what William has shared, that while we recommended unanimously as a team to bring forward to you all today accreditation with stipulations based on the 3 common standards and 5 program standards that came from a combination of all 3 programs, that candidates and stakeholders generally are very pleased with the program, and partners are as well. So we just found that there were specific components within the standards that were inconsistently met, and that the unit really needed to look a little more closely in terms of how every detail of every standard was put into practice. We also noted that many of those missing pieces, or inconsistent pieces, I should say, were really interrelated in nature, either across the unit or within the different standards or between the common standards and the program standards. And I know this isn't uncommon for what you see when you review these visits, that where there's overlap in the standards, generally speaking, you have those inconsistencies within all standards that are related. Just again, our unanimous decision of accreditation with stipulations was really that the impact of the experience of candidates was truly minimal, and that a revisit did not seem necessary in terms of what components we saw inconsistencies in, and that really the impact was not extreme to warrant such a thing. So just to kind of highlight a few of the inconsistencies were the collaboration kind of more broadly outside of the unit, support for all students to meet state adopted academic standards. It's clear that the unit is highly collaborative internally and really does make supporting students in meeting state academic standards also a priority. It's just that the way in which those are implemented within the standards were inconsistent. Another area was the evaluation of faculty, and we shared all of these with Ryan and his team. So overall, the unit has a strong support of its programs, and the team works in an integrated nature, both within all of the educator preparation programs as well as across the district. The willingness of the unit to effectively collaborate and self-reflect was definitely a strength that the team saw. And evidence of this was really shown through program standards and improvements that had occurred in just the short time that Las Virgenes had been offering these programs. Candidates interviewed really felt valued as educators. In fact, they expressed specifically that they really felt as though they were valued partners in the district and not just a candidate or an employee. The admin programs also really are pushing for change and development of instructional leaders, the support of continuous improvement at the site level, all with diversity and equity at the center of their work and their discussions. And teacher induction candidates spoke highly of their mentors and the reflective conversations that those mentors facilitate to really contribute to their growth. And so it was clear to the team that the mentor training was effective in terms of preparing mentors to do the great work of supporting the new teachers enrolled in the program. So just to reiterate, our team came to consensus based on the current strengths of the program, the positive candidate preparation and experience, as well as the connections between the areas of concern or the areas of inconsistencies across several standards. And would be happy to answer any specific questions that you may have once it opens up for discussion.
Terrific. Thank you so much for your report. We now invite the institutional representatives to comment briefly about the visit. Just a reminder that this is not a time to dispute the team's report, but rather to provide any thoughts you had about the visit.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone from Southern California. Good to see you. Some familiar faces on here. First and foremost, I just want to offer gratitude. William and Michelle were just beyond supportive throughout this process, really helped in every possible way to help bring it to completion, and also were completely understanding and flexible in terms of, as the previous commenters mentioned, the pandemic. Kim and the team, this process was so helpful for us. It's very healthy for us to see through the lens of our standards again, where we need to tighten some things up, and have already begun to put some of those things in place in terms of formalizing our posting and job posting and evaluation processes. We've hired 2 full-time induction specialists. We're adjusting the ILP per the recommendations this summer. And then we really, in terms of the adult learning theory that informs our admin programs, putting together some summer trainings and retreats together to make sure that that's more evident and omnipresent. So again, all the other suggestions and stipulations will be addressed in due time. Looking forward to updating the Committee on Accreditation quarterly and on our growth. And like I said, this is, knowing that a pandemic hit while we were also navigating this, wasn't sure how it would go. And the team's professionalism and support was just so appreciated. And what it's done for our programs already, we are genuinely very appreciative of. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gleason. I think that's it for the institution. All right. Do we have any comments from the public?
Seeing no comments.
All right. Now is the time for the Committee on Accreditation members to make comments or ask any questions that you might have. Member Chikowski.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. You're very gracious representative of your program. And I guess I would be kind of curious just to hear if you could identify 2 takeaways from the visit itself that you found most instructive or helpful to you as a program leader. What would they be?
So the first one would be that, when we launched our 3 programs in provisional status, we were, still functioning from the lens of a single district. And over the last 3 years, we now partner with 10 to 15 districts, and our program is growing in terms of diversity and scope. And so some of the structures, there was some, like an aha just hit us aside the head of, when we serve that broader capacity, how we look at our internal mechanisms of hiring versus external mechanisms of hiring and evaluation. It's really healthy to have that reflection of we're a different program than when we started. I think the second is coherence. Was a big piece of feedback in terms of coherence in the induction program around our professional, making sure the professional learning that the candidate is experiencing is represented in the ILP process, but then coherence in the PASC program to have our research base explicitly outlined and embodied in each of our classes. And it pointed to, especially to me, as we shifted to a online format, how we need some time to develop as a group, and taking those face-to-face tools that really embody that theory and making sure that it's applying across an explicit way for our candidates in the distance context.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think one thing I hear in what you're saying too is that the language of the standards, whether they're administrative standards or the TPEs, that explicit attention to using that language explicitly can help us all, achieve commonality, which I know isn't rocket science, but it's helpful to hear it again from another person.
Yeah, and then this process was just very helpful in clarifying our identity. Like it was holding up a mirror to ourselves and us looking into it and saying, oh, we're a little different than we were 3 years ago. So
We've heard that mirror analogy before in this meeting, and I think it's a really good one. And given the newness of the program, consistency comes with time and practice. And at this point, this is just going to speed up that process a little bit, right, for you. There were two things in the report that were a little unique for me that I just wanted to call out. And one was that one of your candidates talked about your credential analyst and how helpful this person is. And I think our credential analysts are our unsung heroes sometimes. It wasn't until I got into induction that I realized how many different credentials there are and the nuances. And at least, way back when it was, we didn't know how to fit them into an induction and it was just really complicated. And those analysts, the fact that they're such an important part of your program and that the candidates recognize their work, I think is really neat. So shout out to the credential analysts, all of you out there. And then there was this comment that says, one district leader noted that participating in the leadership classes has caused district cabinet members to view educational practices in a new way and be self-evaluative about their own teaching and leading practices. So the fact that your program is really having an impact on more than just the candidates that are seeking these credentials, but the overarching leadership of the communities in which you're working is really to be commended. It's super exciting to think that these programs aren't working in isolation. And so kudos to you and your team on that piece. Any
Thank
other
you very much.
Comments? All righty. Well, this is an action item. I need a motion, please. Motion by Member Balatayo.
Okay, so I move that we accept the report of the recommendation of accreditation with stipulations for Las Virgenes Unified School District.
And a second. Member Taylor. We will now do a roll call vote. Ms. Bernardo?
Cynthia Ramos?
Aye.
Jomeline Balatayo?
Aye.
Kathy Kreisha?
Aye.
Katrina Tchaikovsky?
Aye.
Bob Fraley?
You had to step away.
Okay. Lynn Larson?
Aye.
Anna Moore?
Aye.
Kevin Taylor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. So congratulations on your programs moving forward in this process. Well done.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see, Mr. Gleason, Ms. Lilienthal, Mr. Hetrick, and Dr. Williams-George. Take care. Okay, that takes us to item 20, which is the discussion of the 6-month follow-up report from Anaheim Union High School District. Consultant Gay Roby will introduce this item. Joining her are institutional representatives, Jackie Counts, Director of Innovative Programs, Diana Fujimoto, AUHSD Lead Curriculum Specialist, Regina Powers, District Librarian and Induction Support, and Billy Schwartz, AUHSD Induction Consultant. Does anyone need to recuse themselves? Ms. Roby, will you begin, please?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, committee members. I am so happy to present this report to you, the Anaheim Union High School District's 6-month report following their COA report in January, because I can see real growth in this program. I believe the district has addressed the 3 stipulations identified in their site visit head on and have taken significant steps towards rectifying them so that all standards, common and program, will be aligned to the CTC requirements. AUHSD's site visit took place in October of 2020, but it wasn't heard by the Committee on Accreditation until January of 2021. At that time, accreditation with stipulations, a status was determined by the committee. Those stipulations were threefold. First of all, use the CSTP as the candidate's roadmap throughout their participation in induction. Secondly, assess and provide feedback to the mentors on their work with candidates. And thirdly, and one that takes the most time, implement a comprehensive continuous improvement process. The district provided a detailed report of their actions to address these stipulations, a reprise of which was included in this item, as well as a link to their full report. I am not going to repeat all of those actions, as you have all read the report, I know, but I would reiterate that the institution has actively addressed the stipulations through a variety of activities that involves many of their stakeholder groups. To summarize their report, the district has moved to establish a plan that has determined a pathway, but has not yet been fully implemented. That second 6 months should allow the program time to fully implement the entire plan for each stipulation. So it's staff's recommendation that the committee accept this report as a midway point to their 7th year report and delay any action until you receive their 7th year report, as that will provide you with a more robust and full determination of the steps that they have taken.
Terrific. Thank you, Ms. Roby. We now invite the institutional representatives to briefly comment about the report.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Anaheim Union High School District, I first would like to just thank Gay Roby for her guidance in helping us through our accreditation visit this year, and the accreditation team for being our critical friends. Really, it was through their very thorough review that allowed us to see our induction program through a different lens. And this really helped us reflect on the steps that we need to take to ensure we are providing that high quality standards-based induction program for our candidates. So I hope that you can see that, as Gay mentioned, based on the updated report we provided, we have been very busy addressing the stipulations from the visiting team. And we've actually already seen some of the positive impact these changes have had on our program. So for example, the CSTP self-assessment tool that was added as a link to the ILP not only allowed us to see the specific CSTP areas of strength and growth for each candidate, but it also served as a tool by our mentors to support that ongoing reflective conversation with their candidates around the instructional practices. And then in the end of year survey from our candidates, we found a majority of them found their induction experience valuable. Some comments from one of the surveys suggesting, again, the induction program has given me the opportunity to reflect on my own teaching with expertise provided, by my mentors, helped me develop as a teacher, by learning new teacher strategies and so on. And then additionally, I wanted to also point out the feedback we received in our end of year survey from our mentors. I think it really validated the action steps we put in place to help sharpen their craft as mentors. Some of the comments that they made on their end of year survey, here was a couple really quickly. This year, more than any other year, I feel like this process was beneficial to me in developing mentoring coaching practices. And then another mentor commented, I like how the IMP, the individualized mentoring plan, focus my mentoring on an area that would most benefit the candidate. And in this case, a reflection of student work and driving to drive the teaching, right? So as I think an induction leadership team, we value the input from our stakeholders. We ask specifically on the survey, when considering the induction journey, provide suggestions for any future training, support you would like the induction program to offer. So those are just a few of the highlights. I wanted to share some of the changes that came directly from the recommendations from the committee. We've seen those improvements. We are meeting during the summer to update our induction handbook with all of the changes. And so once again, we just really appreciate the review team's work. We're grateful for the resources that they provided that really allowed us to begin to make some immediate improvements. And our induction team is definitely committed to systematizing the cycle of continuous improvement to ensure that we are providing a robust induction program that serves both our candidates and our mentors. So once again, just, very grateful for the experience and the opportunity.
Thank you. Anyone else from the institution? All right, are there any, does any member of the public wish to make a comment on this item?
Seeing no comments.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the committee members? No? I think we all look forward to hearing from you in January, except for me, because this is my last meeting. But you have a great plan laid out, and hopefully we will be back in schools, and it will make it really easy for you to get going on these new phases of your program. And so right now I need a motion to accept the 6-month follow-up report from Anaheim Union High School District. Do I have a motion? And Member Chakowski.
I move that we accept the 6-month report from Anaheim.
All right, and a second? Member Co-Chair Frelly. We will now do a roll call vote. Ms. Bernardo, please.
Cynthia Almos.
Aye.
Jomeline Bolatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Kershaw.
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski.
Aye.
Bob Fraley.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Aye.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Best wishes to you all, and we'll see you again in January. Thank you, Ms. Roby, Ms. Counts, Ms. Fujimoto, Ms. Powers, and Mr. Schwartz. Have a great week.
Thank you so much.
Take care. All right, we're getting there, folks. Next item is item 21, and Consultant Cheryl Hickey will introduce this item. Ms. Hickey, will you begin, please?
Sure. At the last meeting, I opened up the nominations for the 2 co-chair positions that begin with our August meeting, so as of July 1st. And we had 2 nominations at that meeting. We had Bob Frelly was nominated for the Institution of Higher Ed representative or position, and Marty Martinez was nominated for the K-12 community representation as the co-chair. So the nominations remains open at this time. So I need to ask if there are any other nominations. I'm doing a wait time here. I do not see any other nominations. So at this time, I will close the nominations, and we'll take up the order. Let's start with Marty Martinez. He's not here today, of course. And Chair Moore, I believe you have a statement from him.
I do. All right, thank you for nominating me to serve as the K-12 co-chair for the Committee on Accreditation. It is an honor to be nominated and one I respectfully accept. I've had the privilege of supporting California's accreditation system through leading accredited programs as a member of the BIR and through my service as a member of the Committee on Accreditation. I respect the work of the CTC and the dedicated staff within the Professional Services Division and the members of this committee who work tirelessly to ensure our education professionals are prepared to serve all students. If elected to the position, I will carry on that commitment to excellence through my work as co-chair. Thank you, Marty Martinez.
Great. So I will now, I think, open it up for the vote. So an I vote means you are voting to elect Marty Martinez as the K-12 co-chair. And a no vote, of course, is a no vote. So I guess we need the secretary to call the roll at the moment.
Cynthia Amos.
Aye.
Jomeline Belatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Krisha.
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski.
Aye.
Bob Fraley.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Abstain.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Great. So Marty Martinez will be your next co-chair for the from the K-12 community. So next we will take action, or you will take action to determine whether to elect Bob Fraley as your IHE co-chair. And this one requires 2 votes, actually. So because he has already served 2 terms as your co-chair, the procedures manual says that a person can only serve 2, but you are able to override your own policy. So the first then would be I'm wondering whether I need a motion. Yes, I believe I need a motion from one of the members to override your procedures manual and to allow. Okay, Kevin Taylor, I hear that. A second from Katrine Chakowski. Why can't I say your name today? Chakowski. I have a very good friend with the same last name, so don't know why I can't pronounce it today. Chakowski. All right, so will the secretary call the roll?
Cynthia Amos.
Aye.
Jomeline Belatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Krisha.
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski.
Aye.
Bob Fraley.
Abstain.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Abstain.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, so you have voted to override your own procedures manual, and now we'll vote to elect Bob Fraley. So go ahead and call the roll.
Cynthia Amos.
Aye.
Jomeline Belatayo.
Aye.
Kathy Krisha.
Aye.
Katrina Chakowski.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Lynn Larson.
Aye.
Anna Moore.
Abstain.
Kevin Taylor.
Aye.
Right. Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you. And thank you all, folks. I mean, you know how much this means to me, and you guys are by far the most professional and enjoyable group of people that I work with on an ongoing basis. It's everybody approaches this in a selfless manner, always for the good of the cause. And I consider it really a privilege just to be associated with everybody. And the fact that you have confidence in me to, first of all, to have served as your chair, one of the co-chairs, and to continue is quite significant. And I do appreciate the confidence that I hope to always be able to support what we do together as a group, as according to the wishes of you all. So again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Yay.
And dad jokes, huh? I see. I have my glasses on. I got to think of a good one. Oh, music jokes. There we go.
Okay. All right.
I was going to say, yeah, but only if he tells a trombone joke. But then I thought, no, I better not say that because then I'll be violating protocol and that would be bad.
You know how to make I think I might have said, you know how to make a trombone sound like a French horn? Put your hand on the bell and miss a lot of notes. The hand goes into play the French horn. Right? It's like, what's the definition of an optimist? A trombonist with a cell phone. Okay, I'm done.
I'm going to miss those. All right. Well, congratulations and congratulations to Marty wherever he is. And now we are coming to the public comment portion of our meeting. Does any member of the public have anything it wishes to say? Please remember to use your raise hand icon, or if you're joining via the toll-free number, press *9 on your phone to inform the meeting moderator that you would like to speak. The moderator will inform you when it's your turn to speak.
Seeing no public comments.
All righty. Having no further business, Mr. Frelly?
Yes, two things. The first is I thank you for a great meeting, everybody. I always learn so much from everybody here. It's really enlightening and it's stimulating. It's nice to be able to be affiliated with such a intelligent and thought-provoking group. So thank you. I really enjoy these things. So thank you for having, again, providing me with more food for thought. But more importantly, Anna, we're going to miss you. Thank you so much for all your years of service. We've already said that, but we can't say it enough. So we expect to see you at some point at a presentation.
Thanks.
Getting involved again. So well, I'm sure we'll see you again.
I think I'm going to cry as soon as the meeting's over.
Kind of sad you don't have a gavel that you can just,
right?
That last gavel.
Big gavel. It's been just amazing, and it really, on the hardest day at whatever other job I had, just knowing that this work was happening and that I had my team here, and it's just been a great journey, and it's not over. Just this part is over. So we'll see what's next. I look forward to seeing you all in the field and in person at some conference somewhere. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Anna.
Having no further business, I adjourn the June 2021 meeting of the Committee on Accreditation. The next meeting will be of the committee will be on August 16th, 2021. It's a virtual meeting. Quickie. It's a quickie. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, fist bump, Mr. Taylor. Bye, everybody.